Hello, Phil.
Hi Sam, good to see you, friend.
Yeah, good to see you. So tell us, you're the pastor at Holmgate Evangelical Church. Where is that?
That's right, yeah. Holgate is actually around about 5, 6 miles just south of Chesterfield. In fact, if you look on the map, we sit smack bang in the middle of Derby and Sheffield. But our sort of closest town, Clay Cross, is the closest town to Holmgate itself.
Okay, and how long is it since the church has been established there?
It's just over. In fact, we're actually in our 46th year now.
Okay.
So in many ways, a relatively new church. I've only been here for 2 years myself. Previous, I was in New Brighton, and in fact, coming from New Brighton, we celebrated our 125th anniversary there. So, in comparison, it's quite a new church, really.
Okay, and why was it planted where it was planted in Holmgate?
In some ways, there's two reasons. The first reason, and probably the primarily reason, is that there was no evangelical witness in the area at all, largely, and certainly not on the estate.
Mm.
And so that's where the individuals, so some of them who lived on the estate or certainly lived in the area, had a burden for an evangelical Christian witness on the estate.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is as well is some of the Christians were struggling in some of the fellowships that they were involved in. There wasn't sound teaching. There was things that were taught which are contrary to scripture. And so they themselves were wanting to set up a fellowship that taught the scriptures correctly.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so pre-COVID, I've asked this before of other interviewees, but pre-COVID, what was the shape of ministry in terms of outreach and for you as a pastor tending to the sheep there in that sense? So what sort of programs did you have which enables the church to express itself hopefully in biblical ways?
Quite a varied program actually. For what is it's just quite a small town, and it's quite a rural community because we're just literally on the edge of the Derbyshire Peak District.
Hmm.
But nevertheless, we had quite a varied sort of outreach program.
Yeah.
Everything that we've done, it serves under the title of knowing Jesus and making Jesus known.
Uh,
So obviously, from a pastoral perspective, knowing Jesus, making sure that the flock of God that God's given me to pastor, his flock, are affirmed in the biblical truth, taught correct doctrine, and affirmed to grow up, and also to use those opportunities as a means of evangelism for others, which leads us on to that second part of making Him known. Everything that we do largely has a gospel basis to it. I say largely, there's only one outreach, which I'll come to at the end, that we don't use as a gospel, but we use as a bridging into the community.
yeah.
Our children's work every week, through the midweek weeks, and also through the ministry on a Sunday as well. We still run a very traditional sort of Sunday school. Through the schools work, we have connection with 3 local primary schools. A fantastic opportunity there. Myself and one of the other staff members is actually that we're both governors at two different schools, and we have a member of the church who's actually a part of the fact of the staff at another school. So we have tremendous opportunities there.
Yeah.
Youth work, outreach as well through various adult ministries, whether that's a lunch club that we have once a month, whether that's through a craft club as well. All of them, they're used for gospel opportunities.
Mm.
The only one that we sort of don't is a ministry that we run every fortnight on a Friday night. It's called Snap Tin, which might sound like a funny title, and it did to me when I first came here. But if you can imagine, it's largely an ex-mining community.
Oh yes.
And miners would have had that sort of a snack tin, which would have their lunch or their break, mid-morning break in this tin, and
Ah.
they'd snap it open, then they'd have it. It was their lunchbox in effect. And so they've used that phrase. And so it's a snap tin. We have a meal together, and it's the church and the community. We sit down on a Friday night every other week, and we have a 2-course meal together. Children eat free.
Okay.
So it's a way of us bridging that gap into the community, but also providing good, wholesome food for those who maybe can't always afford that in the week.
Yeah, fantastic. So you've got some outreach, and in terms of the internal workings of the church, you have a Bible study, a prayer meeting,
Yeah,
Sunday
yeah.
services, and anything else? Oh, home groups. Do you have home groups?
Yeah, we do. We're still one of those fellowships that still has two Sunday services.
Yeah,
There's not many that do, sadly, now today, but we still do have two Sunday services,
yeah,
and then a midweek Bible study and prayer meeting, which is on the Tuesday.
yeah,
Now that runs every other week. And in the week in between, it's home groups. So we split off into various home groups. I
yeah.
think there's around about, at the moment, around about 55 of us who actually meet up and study in various homes around the community,
Mm.
purposely designed so that there is a Christian witness in these smaller groups in the communities around the area in which we live in.
Yeah.
Many of them travel in from different areas, 2 or 3 miles away. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So, how are things at the moment? This little series is entitled Coronavirus. So, how is your part of the church coping with the coronavirus pandemic at the moment? How is that affecting your ministry, and what you're able to do and what you're not able to do?
Well, very different, really, in some ways. Obviously, we can't physically meet together, and we really, really miss that. However, we can virtually meet together, and almost from day one. In fact, it was the first Sunday we established a Zoom meeting straight away, so our services went online.
Yeah,
So we're able to do that. What we're doing at the moment, obviously, the children's work isn't running, and some of the other outreach work isn't running.
mm,
However, what we have been able to do is we still meet for our prayer time and our Bible study every single week on a Tuesday
yeah,
via Zoom. That follows a very similar format to what we've always done. We actually have on a Wednesday, just to make sure that we catch up with everybody, a tea and chat, just to see how folks are doing as
yeah.
well, and
That's nice.
come
Yeah,
into that. On a Friday, we have a family fun night, which is lovely. We have a short a song and a short devotion, but we also have family fun together, questions, some for the children, some from the adults, and it's really, really fun. It lasts around about an hour on a Friday night, and then
right.
our services via Zoom as well.
Yeah,
One other thing that we did do as well, we were conscious that some of our folks can't meet via Zoom, and so we do it in different ways. We
oh yeah,
either record the sermons as well and send them out. Everything's uploaded onto the website. We also print our sermons off just for those who can't listen in at all. They don't have internet access.
yeah.
Another thing that we've been doing via email and through WhatsApp is a daily devotion every single day. We're actually on day 60
Very
or
good.
61, I think it is, of our coronavirus word for the day. And we send that out every single day. I write it, but one or two others in the fellowship, which has been brilliant, have
Yeah.
supported me in that. And it's just a way of us all keeping in contact together on a daily basis.
That's good. That's excellent. And as I understand it, you have increased your reach as well, not by design, but just you found through looking at analytics of videos and things from the website that it's reached other shores, hasn't it?
It is, amazingly enough, because I just said to you, didn't I, that we've stopped some of our outreach, and it's been disappointing, certain things that we can't
Yeah.
do. However, as you've said, we've spread out further. I'm amazed at some of the stats of how many people in our country are now tuning in
Mm,
to online services.
yeah.
And we've discovered that that's been further afield as well. We've had folks from South Africa, from Canada, from America, 9 people from France, and even someone from South Korea has actually been listening into our morning service as well. So it's been encouraging
Yeah.
as well, that things have spread out further. Another thing that we've been able to do, Sam, as well, is
Yeah.
some of the smaller fellowships who maybe don't have the facilities to go online.
Yeah.
We've been sending our stuff to them as well. They've been very encouraged and blessed by them,
Yeah.
so that they can continue on that teaching ministry really each week.
Yeah. Excellent. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's really lovely to hear how you're adapting and sort of bolting on to the ministry that already exists something that can actually have an effect further afield. Obviously, there's certain limitations with that, but not being able to come in contact with people, but however God's word is ministered, it's a good thing. So that's really good. And how about you as a family? How have you dealt with things?
We're doing fine. Obviously, we're missing folks.
Yeah,
We haven't seen family, extended family, for several months. Our daughter managed to come home from Barber College. She's been at
you
Barber
got
College
back.
this last year, so she managed just to get back
Yeah,
as their college closed. She's gone online. So one of the things in the family has changed is she's having her lectures online in my study every morning, which is
right.
lovely. So I get to see her every morning in
I
her
hope you give
lectures
her
and
no
stuff.
tips or anything.
No. She's teaching me some things. It's some of the things she's learning. It really is.
Yeah,
Our son is actually a ministerial trainee in Long Crendon, just outside between Aylesbury and Oxford.
yeah,
And he's been really involved in the church there.
excellent.
He's been their man who's put everything online, the sermons, the children's talk, and
Yes,
everything for them. So he's been very involved with all that. So
yeah,
we miss him. But in saying that, we probably see him more at the moment because he's forever Zooming or FaceTiming us just to see how things are going here.
of course. In many ways, there's more connectedness,
There's
despite
very
the
much
fact that
so.
there's distance and there's these issues. But yeah, that's very good because a ministry household can be fairly busy at times, can't it?
Yeah, it
So it
can be.
always affects people in different ways. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
We've got Stefano and Jenny Moretti from Northern Italy with us next week, and it'll be interesting to see how they're getting on in Northern Italy. They're a little bit further ahead of us in terms of lockdown and
Yeah.
ministry in a lockdown setting. But we hope that that comes off next week. Thank you ever so much. I've always joked with you, haven't I, that one of these days, if I go on holiday or something, I'll have to get you to preach on our wall in our chapel. Well, that day is getting closer and closer.
Well, it is
Yeah.
via Zoom, and I mean, I was just reflecting, just to digress a wee bit. I don't know whether you realise you're weathering very well. Can I say, brother? You know, I've lost certain bits now, but this August, you and I have known one another for 32 years.
Yeah, that's right. It is a little while now.
Yeah, it really, really is. And
Yeah.
before, I think it was before we were married, we actually came to Burston Chapel, you and I, before both of us were married, and done a promotional tour.
Well, I think you were married. I wasn't married.
Was I? Was I?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right. Yeah. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time with us today,
bless you.
and
Thank
love
you
to
for
the
that.
family. Oh, by the way, Ginny's auntie. Every time I speak to her and I mention your name, she says, "Remember me to Phil." So there we go. I've done my job, and she'll watch this, so she'll know that I've done it. Okay.
Well, give her my love and tell her it was lovely to see her recently at, I think it was Anna's 18th, I think it was. We saw her then. So,
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Take care, mate.
Well,
God bless.
bless you, bro. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.